3 critical habits of mentally strong people. I used to work with venture capitalists, and those people have to be strong. The companies, I mean, because let's say that they're sitting in a meeting. They have a whole morning of meetings scheduled where they're talking to funders who can fund them for millions of dollars. And they have a funder and they're really sure that this person's going to fund them. They go in and present, and the funder just slashes their presentation. They can't just go outside the hotel room and sit down and sob. They need to get their head back in the game and go in and have that same energy and enthusiasm to present to the next presenter or the next venture capital company, sometimes even just 5 minutes later. That's mindset. That's positive mindset. Now, Carol Dweck at Stanford University did a study on the difference between people who have a successful mindset and are thus successful, and people who get stuck and don't have a successful mindset. And she determined that there are 3 things that really impact people's success in terms of mindset. The first one is having a growth mindset, which we're going to get into a little bit more. The second one is how they approach solving problems. And the third one is how they approach self-empowerment. So let's talk about the 5 factors that impact a growth mindset. And if you want to just kind of play with me a little bit, what I'd like you to do is grab a pencil and paper, and for each of these factors, honestly rate yourself in your business from a 1 to a 10, 10 being high, 1 being low, just so that you can get a sense of where your mindset is today. So the first one is, how do you approach challenges? Now, first off, you might want to think, well, is this a challenge of something that's really important to the growth of the business, or is it just kind of a little challenge like, lunch didn't come on time? But I'm talking about a really important challenge. So do you kind of put the challenge off for later? Or do you go, okay, this is a challenge. I am going to have the focus and the clarity to get through it and the vitality to get through it. So 1 to 10, where do you feel like you are today? The second one is obstacles. When you run into an obstacle is really important for your business. Do you put it off for later? Do you try and just kind of ignore it? Or do you face it head on? And do you have the resilience and the power to move through that obstacle? The third one is effort. Now, effort's a little bit of a wiggly thing, especially with Americans, and I'm an American. You might notice from my accent. We're not talking about really efforting at things. In fact, if you work more than 50 hours a week, your productivity goes down. So we don't teach people how to put in more effort, but it's about really having the power and the vitality to just go for it, to put in the effort that's needed. So it's not about doing 100,000 little tiny reps. It's about having the power and the vitality and the resilience to put in those 3 really strong, lift that weight, to put in the effort to make it happen, to do that when it is needed. The fourth one is, how do you deal with criticism? And I know, honestly, criticism's, I don't love criticism on one hand. On the other hand, criticism and feedback is what makes me stronger. And I recognize that. So I have, a love-hate relationship with criticism, and I accept criticism and feedback because that's what helps me grow. So how do you deal with criticism? Do you tend to get defensive when people give you criticism and feedback? Because I know I have definitely been in that space. Or do you listen to it and look for the seed of truth in that criticism and feedback and see how it can make you stronger? And the fifth one is, how do you deal with the success of others? When somebody else is successful, do you feel kind of resentful and go, I wish that were me, that could have been me? Or do you go, wow, what can I learn from that person? What can I learn from that person's success? So those are the 5 factors that Carol Dweck identified. And one of the things when you look at really successful people, and this again, when you look at those venture capital companies who really get funding, who are successful, one of the things that differentiates them from most companies and most companies that aren't successful is having a mentor. In fact, there was some research done about companies overall, entrepreneur companies from mom and pop stores to venture funded companies, and I've worked with all sorts of companies. This is not my research, but there was a research study done on entrepreneurs asking them, what is it that's most important? What do you really need to be successful? And 42% of them said that the thing that was most important to them was to have a mentor. So what exactly is a mentor? A mentor is somebody who's been there before. So you want to play at a new level. You know that you need to produce more really high quality stuff and transform your business in order to get to where you want to be. And a mentor is somebody who's been there, who's done that, and can get you there. I'm Kat McDivitt, and I help people double their productivity and activate their success drivers. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and share. Until next time, live your potential so you can be, do, and have what's most important.